Warning: the views and beliefs in the following program does not reflect the views of Boom Broadcasting. We give full creative control to our creators and do not believe in cancel culture. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everyone, I am Michael Davis, and you have seen me on a lot. You have seen me on Out of Pocket, my sports show. You have seen me on Drop the Mic, my wrestling podcast. I did some stuff at another place before we started Boom Broadcasting. Now, if you have seen me on all of those shows, you know I'm a big sports guy. You know I'm a big wrestling guy. I'll be bringing other content to you as well. Um, but this is going to be a little bit different. And that is why we had the disclaimer at the top of the show. So, as you can tell by the name of this episode, the man behind the mic. Well, that's me, and I'm behind a mic. Usually, this is placed out of the visual. Sometimes I'm at my employment in their podcast studio, recording out of pocket or drop the mic. But usually, I'm not holding the microphone. I have it set off to the side, and I focus more on the producing. I focus more on the hosting, giving my sports opinions, giving my wrestling opinions, and that's totally fine. But this is going to be a little bit different. And how this show came about is I gotta explain how Boom Broadcasting came about. And I'd worked at a summer camp for 7 summers, and, worked there, graduated Appalachian State University with my broadcasting degree, and it was, of course, during the pandemic, during COVID, and nobody was hiring. Like, I couldn't get anywhere. And it's fine, it's whatever, but I had the opportunity to stay at this camp and, just, work at the camp, work with the youth, which was a huge part of my life, a huge part of my story. We'll hopefully get to share some stories here on this show moving forward on Saturdays, and it was just a great time. It was a fantastic time, and I'd been in a cabin with kids for 4 summers, and I had worked as a program assistant, training the staff, helping everybody, make sure their program areas are equipped, stocked, everything ready to go, making sure everything runs smoothly, and if they didn't, I would fix it, right? Um, so that's what that was. And then last summer, I was actually in charge of a 24/7 online radio station for this camp. It was my baby. I created it. I started it. I got all the equipment, uh, sat down with the kids and was like, "So, what do you want to talk about?" And they would do like the craziest stuff, right? They would do a game show or, "Oh my gosh, I want to interview people." So we'd walk around the entire camp trying to interview people. They just came up with crazy stuff. They would do hot seat where they would put somebody on the spot and they would have to answer questions or be interviewed. It was fantastic. It was a great part of my time, and last summer was actually my last summer at this camp. And so I was in a transitional period from the month of August, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do next because I really enjoyed working at the camp. I really enjoyed working with youth. I didn't want to be a teacher. No offense, teachers are incredible, but they're incredibly underpaid. And you know, teaching, education or whatever versus playing games at summer camp. That's where my heart was when it came to working with the youth. And so I had started to put together a few documents. And I was like, hey, could this work if I branched off and did my own thing? And of course, I had been working with a sports radio station located out of Winston-Salem in the Triad area. Had a great 2 years there, and it's sports, but I wanted to do something more than just sports. Like I wanted to do something with a little more substance. I was like, what avenue can I have to do that? Fast forward to the end of the month in August, and I get sick, right around my birthday, spend my 25th birthday in the hospital. Most of you know that story. If you don't, I will probably share it here on this, show here in a few weeks, because that's a huge part of my story. That's why I'm wearing the Weight Room Revival shirt, for this first episode because it was such a huge part of my life. I also went to the 5th Weight Room Revival this past Thursday night in Matthews, North Carolina. Lodi does an incredible job, transforming his fitness center, his gym, his wrestling ring to a place of ministry. And so I went through that in the fall, and starting this year, I was like, okay, let me get back into the podcasting groove. I brought back Drop the Mic at the beginning of the year. I, brought back Out of Pocket. I was doing more guest appearances and co-hosting with Ryan and Shannon on our Carolina Panthers podcast. Probably know I'm not a Carolina Panthers fan, but what a great time with those guys. And then I started brainstorming, and somebody brought it up to me as like, hey, you could do this. And I'd never told him what I was doing. I'll give him his flowers. His name is Mike, not this Mike. And he's like, you could totally do that. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. And so we stayed up all night brainstorming, figuring out, okay, how would this work? What would this look like? And then it hit me. This was the thing I could do for quote unquote more substance, right? And I was like, okay, let me have my sports audience. Let me have my wrestling audience, which they have done a phenomenal job. But let me create a platform. Let me create an avenue for shows like this as well. Because yes, you may be a sports fan. Yes, you may be a wrestling fan. Yes, you may be both, but you like more than just sports, right? You like more than just pro wrestling. And you can probably hear my chair squeaking next to that Heartbreak Hotel poster. You have more life interests, but we all go through it. We all have a story. Our story matters, and it's a lie if you believe it doesn't. And I was like, okay, we need an avenue for people who do want to share their story. They have a place to do that. That's why the disclaimer is at the top of this show. It's not at the top of Out Pocket. It's not at the top of Drop the Mic because, I mean, we're talking sports, we're talking wrestling. This podcast is more talking about the real stuff. The stuff that goes beyond the promoting of a new podcast or whatever. This will probably be one unedited, raw. I'm leaving that blooper in there, and it's going to be unedited, and it's going to get real. Um, there's going to be episodes on the man behind the mic where it's this, and I'm solo and I share something that's on my heart. There's going to be episodes where I bring people in to hear their stories and to hear where they're at and have conversations. I already have a few in mind. Will be reaching out if I have not reached out already to have you be on this show. So I wanted to do something to actually help people, to actually reach people. And that's what we're doing. That's what this episode is. The man behind the mic. It will be on Saturdays as a reflection, reflecting over the previous week, talking about a story from either my experience at that camp, my experiences now, my experiences in college, growing up in school. And my goal is two things. Three. Three. One of them, and none of these are to grow the channel, right? I mean, I have other shows for that. It's great, we're doing a giveaway for the college football game. That's, you can go see it on our YouTube channel right now on how to enter that. Once we reach 500 subscribers, we're around 200 right now, which is phenomenal. Thank you guys. Uh, the support we've received is just phenomenal. I'm doing this for three reasons. And it's not to promote anything, but one, I want to enjoy it. Every show that's on Boom Broadcasting, its main focus is for the people doing it to enjoy it. Like, they need to enjoy what they're doing in order to wanna keep doing it. So, everything's designed for them to enjoy having creative control, having a respectable platform that they can grow their audience and more eyes can be on them. So number 1 is to enjoy. Number 2 is to be a release. I mean, we go through it. There's some weeks that are easier than others, and so some episodes will be a lot more fun, a lot more energetic, a lot more exciting, and I'm excited for those episodes, but I'm also more excited to be like, "Guys, I mean, let's take off the filters that social media and Instagram and Facebook give us." Because if you look at somebody's social media account, right? Well, mine's mostly promotional stuff. But if you look through, you're seeing all the smiles, you're seeing the trips to concerts or to the beach. We're in the summer right now. You're seeing all these trips out of the country, exploring these exotic places. And that's great. But they never post, "Oh, man, this is the worst day ever. I hate it, like, this is a struggle. I stuck my foot in gum on the way to work, and then I had to go change shoes, and then I was late for work, and everything started piling up." And it's like, okay, that really takes a toll on mental health and your emotional health. And so that leads me to my 3rd reason of doing this. If I can relate to any one of you watching on Boom Broadcasting, because this is the only place it will be available. If I can somehow relate to you and help you, um, I wanna do that. I really wanna do that. That's where my heart is, and I will never forget, it was probably about 2 or 3 years ago that I was on a podcast as a guest. It's called God's Glory and Real Men Stories. And Robert Moore does a fantastic job hosting it, and I was on as a guest, didn't think about it, recorded it in December and, cool, whatever, I mean, da, 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 and next thing I know, it's released, like, late January, early February, and I'm getting messages from people, and I'm like, What are they doing?" Like, I haven't heard from this person in so long, right? And they're messaging me, and they're like, "I heard your podcast, and it touched me. Here's how. Here's what I'm going through." And it opened up an avenue to where we could talk about the real stuff. And I was like, "Wow, that is really cool." That's what I want, is for people to feel comfortable enough to, if you're not comfortable coming on this podcast, then being comfortable to reaching out to either me or just someone that you trust, someone that you know, someone who will be there for you, someone who will care, and that's awesome. That's what I'm excited about. And so that's gonna be the general vibe of this podcast. It's not gonna be, uh, incredibly long. We're not hopefully going to go an hour, but we will if we need to. And I was going to do an episode last week. If you noticed the opening week schedule, I was slated at Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I had some stuff come up. Well, Boom Broadcasting, it took a lot of time, it took a lot of energy. By the way, I'm gonna be fully transparent and vulnerable on this show with you guys because that's what you deserve. That's what's going to help me process everything, and hopefully we can help out each other. Boom Broadcasting took a lot. I mean, a lot of, sleepless nights, brainstorming, your mind starts racing through, "Oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this." And then I got put it down on paper or on my laptop so I don't forget in the morning. And just, I mean, a lot of sleepless nights, running pretty thin, to begin Boom Broadcasting, and that's the thing. I mean, never failed at the summer camp I worked at. it always took a couple weeks to work out the kinks. No matter how much you prepared, no matter how ready you were for this, that was the vibe, that's what happened. And that's totally fine. And I noticed I needed a couple weeks to work out the kinks and, get everything going on this new adventure that we're going on together. I have a huge, huge team, super excited, super grateful. Like, you guys have no idea how grateful I am for the support. I mean, YouTube channels struggle to like grow. And before we released a single video, we had 100 subscribers. Before 2 weeks is up, we're pretty much at 200 subscribers. I mean, that is support, that is love from you guys, that is what I really appreciate. And so it was really apparent that, midway through the first week, I was like, "Wow, I gotta pace myself. I gotta remember I'm not Superman. I can't do it all. I can't be everywhere all at once and trying to juggle boom broadcasting, trying to juggle my own shows, trying to juggle, my part-time job, where I'm working at a co-working space here locally in Wilkes. I'm absolutely loving that. And, you know, like balancing, friends, family, not wanting to forsake the people who matter and who will be there for you and who care and you care about them. So it was like, okay, I need to slow down a little bit. That's why, you know, let me take the next few days, let me celebrate 4th of July, let me spend time with the family and friends. And then I'll hit the ground running again on Monday when I released Out Pocket. And this past week, I released all the episodes except for on Thursday, did not do Out of Pocket, because I was at the Weight Room Revival, number 5, that Lodi puts on, and it's such a refreshing time. I absolutely love it. I'm excited because this the shirt, yeah, but what's on the shirt, the Weight Room Revival, uh, changed my life incredibly. Changed my outlook on a lot of things, changed me personally, has really helped my dad. Me and my dad have been to all 5 of the first Weight Room Revivals, and he was very determined to go this past week. So, that's always a great time. I'm excited to share some stories from there. I'm excited to share more stories as we go on this adventure together, and this will be the vibe. So, I will say this: I am also a Christian. That will be a part of this podcast as well as talking about my faith. I can't talk about me. I can't talk about the weight room revival. I can't talk about my journey at camp. I can't talk about, my stuff during the week. I can't talk about that without at least mentioning some faith aspect to this because that's a huge part of my story. I'll be talking about the outpost as well, which is a men's retreat twice a year. So that's why we put the disclaimer. I'm not going to shove Christianity down your throat. That's not my vibe. If you know me, you know that's not what I do. But I will give credit where credit is due because I wouldn't be sitting here right now recording this show if I didn't. And so, what I want you guys get from this, I hope you continue watching on Saturdays. I mean, this will probably be my least promoted show, because I will be talking about some vulnerable stuff, and that's totally okay, but I hope you watch, I hope you gain something from it. I hope this opens up conversations down the road. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. This is totally off the cuff. This is not like my other shows. So we won't be talking about wrestling. We won't be talking about sports. We'll be talking about life. And you'll learn a little bit more next week about the man behind the mic. And that's me.